Alright, good evening. I hope that you guys are doing well. Just want to do a quick little video here on Beyond Meat. This is ticker symbol BYND. So up on the screen I have the 1 year daily chart. So I know Beyond Meat hasn't been trading for a year, but each candlestick does represent 1 day. I also have some moving averages up on the screen. So I got the 9-day. I have the 50-day here. This is like this aqua color. I have the 100-day, and then it does not have a 200-day moving average here on the yearly chart yet, but I have that up, for my other charts. But anyway, just kind of want to talk about this price action. So we had this big old run up, and we ended up hitting up here around 240 bucks a share. And then it was a pretty drastic slide to the downside. I mean, we were talking like, solid 40% to the downside over the, in a 2 week period. And ever since, it's just kind of been stumbling downward farther and farther. I have some of these old support lines drawn in. Oh goodness, I do not want to do that. Some of these older support lines that I had drawn in from way back in June. And it was funny because, they still play out. They were still important when it came to this collapse. So, I say collapse in quotes. This thing is still trading at $100 a share. So if you got in back here, you're still doubling your money down here right on the first day. But and if you're an insider, you've still quadrupled your money. Why you're still holding when we had this run and now it's kind of declining, I don't know. But anyway, let's just look at some of these levels here that I had drawn out. So we had this, high 130s level here, based off of the trading that went on in here. And I think this is more of a 6-hour base that I had the start of this trend line. But then as we went up, we made this higher low as we came back down, and we bounced right around here in the high 130s, 140 range. And when we came off our all-time high, we bounced there once, and it was kind of a dead cat bounce to where we really didn't make it up that far. We made it to this resistance right up here, around 160 to 170, and then fell, and it looked kind of good. We made a little bit of a higher low, was kind of promising, but over the next couple days, as this 50-day moving average continued lower and we could not break it, that also meant that we did not make a higher high from this bounce back here. So that was a bad sign. Then we came back down. We bounced off this the high 130 mark again, but dipped a little bit lower than the previous low back here. And, we had this open real high, and ever since, all these, it's just been down, 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 down. And, just in these past couple of weeks, we've lost 40% off the price of Beyond Meat. And, this isn't, I don't think this is out of the ordinary. I think people got a little bit out of hand here with Beyond Meat, maybe based off of the product that it was, something new that hadn't seen the market yet. But I think it got a little bit out of hand per se. And if you did catch my older video on Beyond Meat, you will have seen that or heard that I compared it to Tilray. So if you remember Tilray, if you traded this when it came out, we saw this happen to where, no joke, it actually hit $300 a share from down here around 20 bucks a share. So it's around the same thing as what Beyond Meat has done. This is a weekly chart, so I probably should have made that clear. But this had just a rocket in price. Huge moves. I mean, the price would jump by $5 in like a stinking 30 seconds, and we saw that continue for a period of time. And then eventually, the volume kind of fell out. People sold out, and you were left with bag holders in here, and the price just slowly trickled lower and lower and lower and lower. And we are now back down to where we started, right around this $20 range. So I would not be too surprised if we saw Beyond Meat continue to fall. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen, this next week, because it probably won't happen. But over the period of time, I think it will just continue to get crushed lower and lower and squeeze until maybe eventually we see a bounce back up. I'm not saying that their product isn't good. I've actually had their product before. I think it's pretty decent. The price is a little much, especially if you're not rolling in the dough, which I am not. So, if you have the alternative between, say, if you were to put ground turkey, ground beef, and Beyond Meat out there, Beyond Meat is definitely the most expensive. And while it may be better for you, better for the environment, the consumer, when they go and check out and they see that they could have gotten ground beef for half the cost, then maybe the next time they go to the store they'll do that rather than buying the Beyond Meat. So they have to figure out that price point to make it a little bit more affordable for the average consumer to buy it. But again, let's just take a look at the price history here. We cracked down below this the high 130s, and then we've got another line in here after this gap up. So we are trending up and up and up. We saw the gap up right in here around the 120s, the low 120s, right in here. So we went up these 2 days, and then we dropped back down, bounced in these low 120s, low to mid 120s, and then continued up, and didn't reach it again until just as of recent. And you can see we actually had 2 days where we kind of bounced right there, and that's pretty weak. If we had this gap up, and you would think if this thing wanted to hold and continue onward, that buyers would try, and people who are holding this would try and hold this price point. Because now you've just let, if you let it dip below that price, that's the air out of the bubble, or at least this little bubble, and that's a 20% decline down here to about the $100 range. And we actually dipped a little bit below down here to 96. And I think as we move into this upcoming week, as the end of October kind of fades out and we head into November, if we don't hold right around this $100 mark, I think we could dip into the low 90s and then into the low 80s, and then at that point we may see something like what we saw in Tilray, where it may go up and down, but its overall pattern is to the downside as to what we have been seeing here. Just slowly moving lower and lower until we get back down around this maybe $45 range, maybe in the 20s. So its earnings comes up tomorrow after hours, after the market closes. So I'll be paying attention to that just to see if it provides any help and support for Beyond Meat to maybe push it back up. I do believe if we start to come back up, these low 120s is going to be a little bit difficult to push through. We'll get there when we get there if it gets up there. But, as of now, I think we'll sit right around this $100 range, if not move lower into the low 90s and maybe into the low 80s. But that's just my analysis. I hope this video was kind of informational for you guys and kind of helped you with where I see Beyond Meat. So thanks for watching.